My brothers, Joey here back with another great one. Today we got a topic I'm very excited to talk about. Done a lot of trial and error, done a lot of research, coached over 100 people online and in person on this exact thing, which is going to be optimizing growth in the gym. Now my goal here is going to be to cut through the BS. In the fitness industry nowadays, we have people either overcomplicating things or pro-science using no science-based lifting. So the approach we're going to take, we're going to use a 4-pillar system that's going to encompass the most important things, and we're going to balance science-based with the golden era lifting. Now the golden era lifting, you have the OG bodybuilders, the Arnolds, the Tom Platts, Mike Mentzer, before science-based was out. And so what these guys had to do is they had to try things through trial and error, right? Through grit, through soul, through giving it their all. Now, that being said, thankfully, we have the Mythbusters, which is science-based lifting. We know exactly what works and what doesn't. But you guys have probably seen the memes of like the science-based lifting guys being like the skinniest. Now this is a generalization, it's not always true, but the reason this is a meme is because what the science-based lifting lacks is the heart, is the soul, is the grit. So with this approach, we're gonna make sure that what we're doing is actually working while also keeping the spiritual side to it, right? The mental side to it. We're optimizing gym and the growth mentally and physically. And the way we're gonna do this is through this system. This system is so simple and so effective. I still use it every single day in my workouts that I hit all 4 of these things. All my guys love it, right? And if you do, you are gonna skip the newbie phase. You're gonna skip the phase, not know if what you're doing is working or not, and you're gonna go straight to optimizing growth. We're not gonna overcomplicate or under-explain anything. Let's get right into it with the first pillar, which is tension. Tension is the force your muscles experience under load. This is a stimulus that gives your muscles a signal to grow after you eat. The other 3 pillars are pretty much gonna be in service of tension, because this is why we go to the gym, right? You hear the gym is 10%, food 90, 80-20, 70-30. That doesn't really matter, it's nuanced. What does matter is that when we go in the gym, whatever the percentage the gym weighs on our growth, we are getting the best. We are getting the best tension. Now there's 2 types of tension. You got TUT, time under tension, and you have the load, the weight, right? With time under tension, pretty self-explanatory, but this is the time your muscle is either in a contracted state or a stretched, expanded state under load. With load, it's the amount of weight the muscle is going to be under tension, right? You need both. So if you have a 40-pound dumbbell and you're doing bicep curls and you ended up doing for 60 seconds with good form, tension the whole time, right? That is going to be more tension than if you have a 25-pound dumbbell for the same 60 seconds. Now, if you have a 25-pound dumbbell and you're doing it for about 120 seconds, getting a similar type of tension. With hypertrophy, how do we figure out how much time under tension versus load we want? We're gonna wanna be aiming anywhere from 8 to 16 reps. Now to clarify, this is optimizing growth, not strength, but optimizing hypertrophy. Part of optimizing, tractors coming around. Oh, Tommy over there. With hypertrophy, we are going to be needing strength to get the hypertrophy, but our workouts are just gonna be 3 to 4 reps, rest for 4 minutes, 3 to 4 reps. That's the best way to just train for strength, but that's why you see like a lot of the powerlifter guys, they're not like, their physiques aren't super aesthetic. And a high majority of people go to the gym, yes, for strength, but more importantly, being in good shape, right? So for hypertrophy, we're gonna be aiming for 8 to 16 with 40 to 60 seconds. Now, you don't have 8 to 16 reps with 40 to 60 seconds. Now, I do not time myself on how long the time under tension is. Some people do. I just find that when you're doing 8 to 16 reps with the correct amount of load, it ends up being around 40 to 60 seconds. So if you want to time yourself a couple sets to see how much you're actually getting, that's fine. But if you are focusing on 8 to 16 reps with the correct amount of load, you are going to get about 40 to 60 seconds. And the correct amount of load is going to be heavy. And the correct amount of load is going to be heavy enough to where it's a challenge, but light enough to where you can do correct form within the 18-60 rep range. And speaking of form, the second pillar is we got technique. Now, with technique, there are 3 sub-pillars to technique. You have form, mind muscle, and you have tempo. The goal with the form is to make sure that whatever muscle group we're going for, if we're doing bench press and we're trying to hit chest, the tension is going to the muscle instead of the joints, ligaments, and other muscle groups. That is what good form is going to get you. And perfect form means every rep is 100% growth stimulus. Now, since this isn't a 385-hour video, we're not gonna go to the form of each exercise, but there are gonna be some basics for that every exercise encompasses, which is almost always you're gonna wanna have your core engaged, right? Especially on leg movements. You wanna have your core engaged, spine stable. You're also gonna want a full range of motion on each exercise, full eccentric, full concentric, and then from there it gets pretty specific with each exercise. I highly recommend, whether you're moderate, beginner, or even advanced, researching each exercise and making sure you do it correctly. Not because you're doing it completely wrong, but there's always a couple tweaks that go into the scenes that can make a big difference in the tension, right? 6 years later, I'm still learning things I didn't know. Researching stuff for my guys that taught me so much. And that's why in my one-on-one coaching, I actually have each exercise, the mind-muscle connection, the common mistakes to avoid, the execution, and the setup. Because in the sense of overcomplicating and under-explaining, correct form can never be overemphasized. So skip my years of trial and error, go directly into the research. And if you want to ensure you're doing everything correctly, book a call with me if you're serious about your fitness goals. I would love to be your coach. Now, the second aspect of technique is going to be mind-muscle connection. This is a skill that's built through reps. Right? The mind-muscle connection is going to be your mind's ability to activate the correct muscles in the push or in the pull. For chest press, right? I consciously focus on my chest, squeezing at the top. On tricep extensions, I consciously focus on squeezing the triceps. And some muscle groups tend to be easier to feel than others, right? For a lot of people, back is hard to feel in the beginning, right? People are like, I feel my biceps instead of my back. It's just a harder muscle group for mind-muscle connection. You're going to want to focus on building this skill, which is instead of just focusing on pulling the weight, do as much as you can, do as many reps as you can, focus on squeezing the muscle. Literally mentally imagine your back pulling the weight on the rows or your bicep curling the weight on the bicep. Don't just do this. Focus on the muscle group. This will give you so much more tension. In addition, you're going to want to pick a weight where you can focus on that. If you are swinging the weight with momentum, if you if you're doing a bicep curl and you're swinging like that, brother, we're not hitting our spine and our shoulders on bicep curls. We're hitting our biceps. So there is no benefit from picking a weight heavier than you can cleanly do a bicep curl on. Understand? Take the ego out of it, brother. We're in the gym to get growth for the mind and the body, not the ego. Last aspect of technique is going to be tempo. This is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see, which is people rushing the eccentric, rushing their lifts. Guys, time under tension is what gives us tension, what gives us muscle growth. You do not have to rush through it, right? Focus on, especially the eccentric, this is where half of the muscle growth comes on, controlling it up and then squeezing it back. You can go faster on the way up for a little more strength, but on the way down, that is half of the workout, guys, right? If you are letting the weight down, you are losing the tension, you are releasing the tension, and you aren't getting that time under tension. In addition with tempo, it goes back to momentum. We're not going like this, like this, like this. You can kind of see how my body is lifting the weight instead of my bicep. Look at me now. This is pure bicep right here. That's where tempo is going to come in. You're going to want to aim for like 2 to 4 seconds on the eccentric at least. And on the concentric on the way up, it doesn't really matter as much. As long as you're doing correct form, you can go as fast as you kind of want because that's going to build some more strength. So this is a little 3-minute masterclass on technique. Let's go on to the next one, which is going to be not enough space. Got a solution. We're gonna adapt a little bit. There we go, brothers. We adapted just like what progressive overload is gonna cause you to do. One of the most important principles to understand in the gym is actually logically look at what we're doing in the gym, right? When we go into the gym, we give our muscle a stimulus that's uncomfortable for it, that ideally it hasn't gotten before, which requires it to adapt so next time it can handle that load, right? We shock the muscle, as Arnold says, and we do that through progressive overload. And there's 4 types of progressive overload. It's not just weight and reps. We got weight and reps, but then we also got time under tension and form. These are all pretty self-explanatory. Weight, heavier load. Reps, more repetitions of the exercise. Time under tension, longer time the muscle is contracted or stretched. And form is going to be a better mind-muscle connection tempo and directly hitting the muscle we're intending to hit. A big reason people plateau in the gym is because they just focus on these and they forget about these. Say you finally hit your max weight on rows and you feel like you can't go up any higher. Go to reps. So you can't do any more reps of the same weight. Go to more time under tension. Say all 3 of these are cooked. That means you need to focus on your form and make sure you're actually hitting the exercise correctly and you can progress from there, right? Whenever you give more stimulus in any one of these areas, the muscle is gonna have to adapt, have to grow when you go eat and repair it, and then you gotta progressively overload it with 1 or more of these 4 things. I hope that makes sense, and I hope muscle growth is starting to make some more sense too. Effort. Now, effort. Pushing till failure works. Yes, you want to push till failure. Technically, 1 rep in reserve or failure, but I don't even want you to think about that because most people can't even get themselves to get to that point. When you have no reps left, you usually at least have a couple more. And so depending on the exercise, it's gonna be easier to harder to push. A biceps curl is gonna be a lot easier to reach failure than a barbell squat, right? But I want you guys to go as hard as you can. Push yourself as much as you can because when you do that, you still probably have more on top of it. So don't even think about the science base, oh, you want some reps in reserve. No, brother, go as hard as you can in the gym. That's why you walk into an average gym. You see most people look average and you look at them working out, they're stopping like 5 reps in reserve because it's hard. But that's how you get a physique like this. That's how you get a mindset like this. That's how you get the physique and mindset you want, right? This goes beyond just muscle growth, guys. This is a lifestyle. The thing about the gym that some people don't realize is that this is an opportunity, right? It's so much more than just getting bigger muscles. If you've been watching my channel, you know I mostly talk about other self-improvement than just the gym. But when it comes down to the core of self-improvement, it is doing difficult things. It is pushing past your edge. It is doing things you've never done before. And when you show up in the gym and you're about to do that weight set, you're about to do those squats, you're about to do those rows, and you're going to war, you're telling yourself, I am going to beat the bitch of me that did a lighter weight last time. I'm going to beat the bitch of me that stopped early last time. And that last rep where you think you don't got one more, you just push right beyond it. You are building the mindset, building the human, building the man you want to be. You are putting a vote in the basket of confidence and discipline instead of the vote in the basket of weak loser. You should walk out of the gym every time feeling like you grew up here. And if you did grow up here, you inevitably are gonna grow here because you gave the effort it's required for optimal muscle growth. Every area of improving in life as a man requires pushing past your edge. There is no area that doesn't. And it's the same muscle, scientifically and spiritually, that you are building when you push to failure, push past your edge. And so you should be excited right now to know that the gym is one of the best ways to improve your value as a man internally and externally. That last rep that you don't know if you could do, that's scary, that's hard, is that same brain power that's required to build the business, to approach the chick, to show up every day, to wake up early, to build the life you want. It's that same discipline, and we are growing that in the gym. There's a part of the brain called the anterior midcingulate cortex that is responsible for doing things you don't want to do because you know you should do them, and this part of your brain grows in size, yes, grows in size when you do things that you don't want to do. If you show up to the gym and you just go through the motions, do what's easy, this brain grows 0. If you don't want to do that extra rep when it's scary, when it's hard, when you're afraid, that part of your brain grows. That is just as important as muscles, if not more. So take this opportunity. As Tom Platt said, you should never leave the gym a loser. Go till failure because the only place to go from failure is to win.
Come on! Come on! Congratulations. You achieved failure. Failure has been achieved, thank God. Now, the only place to go from failure is to win. You have to achieve failure. You have to take it that far. Nobody wants to go that far. It's too scary. But you know something? I got news for you. That's where winning is. It always has been. Nothing's changed since the 70s. Nothing. Except people train not as hard.
With that being said, boys, I love you. Go put this to work. You can now understand. You can ask yourself, am I getting the correct time and intention in the load? Do I have the right technique? Am I getting progressive overload? And am I giving it my all? And you don't have to worry about nothing else for right now, right? Show up and do these things and you will get the results I got. You will get the results my guys got, right? Follow me on Instagram for more game. Watch the full Evolve Method Masterclass in the description. Me and my brother break down everything we did to completely transform our lives. I was an absolute bum my entire life until the past 3 years by using this method. There will be methods in there you have never heard about. If you are serious about self-improvement, watch that video. And if you're even more serious, book a call with me. I would love to work with you. Until next time.